Hey guys, for science today, we are doing a plant adaptations activity, and it kind of goes along with our picture plant activity that we did yesterday. So you have a scenario here, so let's read this together. You are an environmental engineer for the Geosyntech engineering firm. A new housing development is being proposed for the rainforest ecosystem. But there's a catch. The proposed development will put species native to the area at risk. So you must practice responsible engineering by working alongside civil engineers to create a housing development that reduces the impact on a plant species. Typically, engineers evaluate and design for many possible effects that a development might have on an ecosystem. So we're going to think about these effects on multiple plant species, okay? And so what you're going to do is you're going to choose a plant community you wish to build your housing. So you're going to research two different plants from this ecosystem, which is the rainforest ecosystem. And then you're going to fill out this chart, okay? So basically, what you're doing as an environmental engineer is you are researching the plants in this ecosystem so that you know where best to build this housing community to make sure that number one, it doesn't affect the plant adaptations, it doesn't affect the plant community and doesn't harm it. And so you want to make sure that you build this housing community in an area that is going to have the least amount of detriment effects to this plant community, okay? So you're going to research two plants in the rainforest ecosystem. We know of one because we talked about it yesterday, which is the pitcher plant. But I want you to think or research a different plant in the rainforest ecosystem. Once you have found a plant in the rainforest ecosystem, you are going to sketch a picture and color it here. And you can use Google Draw to do that virtually, or if you have the PDF drawing tools, you can draw it here as well. You are going to list the structural adaptations, which are the physical adaptations that plants have. It could be the color of the plant. It could be the long stems or roots to reach up tall to get water, right, in sunlight. It could be the physical mouths of the pitcher plant, right, so that it can capture its prey. So what are the physical adaptations that the plants have to have? We read an article about the dip. Yes, I think it's dip. It's the leaves that have the dip. Oh my gosh, this is funny if you're watching this. The drip tips. There we go. It's the drip tips. These specific leaves have that allow it to collect water for it to survive, right? So it's an adaptation. This is a physical or structural adaptation that the plant has. Okay, let's move down and see what else you're going to do. Behavioral adaptations, so responses to stimuli. So what type of behavioral adaptations have the plants have to make, okay, the specific plant you're researching. For instance, the pitcher plant had to adapt to eating carnivorous items because it wasn't getting enough nutrients from the soil to survive in sunlight. So it started to adapt and change to its environment, and now its food habits have changed, right? So what behavioral adaptations does your plant have to make to survive? For instance, some plants have to follow the sun, right? That's a behavioral change that they had to make. And like a sunflower, by following the sun, it's adapted to making sure that it's getting that sunlight, the nutrients that it needs to survive. All right, the last part is what issues might you consider when planning your housing development based on what you've learned? So now all the information that you've learned about this plant, what housing planning do you have to consider? Like Would you have to consider like how deep you build, right? How deep you have to dig, because if your plant has long roots, you would have to dig pretty deep. Or maybe you've learned that this isn't that wherever this plant is would not be a good area to build housing. And why? Why would it not be a good area? Maybe there's too many of these plants around and it would completely kill the community if you were to build housing there. So think about all the things that you've learned about this plant and how would be building a housing community affect this plant and where it grows. So you're going to do that twice, okay? You're going to do it for one plant, and then the second part is to do it for a second plant. Same sections, you're going to sketch a picture. What structural adaptations does it have? What behavioral adaptations does it have? And then what issues would you have to consider? So you are doing this twice, one for each plant. However, you do have until Friday to turn this in. So you're going to work on this a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, and then turn it in on Friday. Of course, if you have any questions, you can come reach out to me during office hours, and I can go over this with you a little bit more. We can do some research together, but the internet, as you guys know, has a plethora of information. So I know if you type in rainforest plants, you can find some plants to research and really dig deep about the adaptations that it has to survive in the rainforest community. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions, all right? Bye.